So, okay, somebody's ready to make a motion.
I move that we recommend approval
I
on,
believe on this one, we are the final.
or read the
land
final.
use, so it is
Yay.
not a recommendation.
Okay, I move that we approve the preliminary and final plat for the AFFCU subdivision, seeing that it meets the zone and is a good use for the space
A motion,
Second.
You want to include staff conditions?
and includes staff red lines or conditions.
second still stand, Commissioner
Second.
Cowan, second from Commissioner Cowan, all in favor by yes.
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 Okay, that is approved and moves forward. Next item is item 6.2. This is a request by Weston Jarvis for the approval of the FV condominium plat for the existing building located on Utah County parcel 66519-004 at 1568 West, 800 South. For public information, that's the down by Freedom Vapors. This is the lot we're discussing.
So this is that Freedom Vapors building. What they are doing is they want to condominiumize that building into 4 separate units. The address 1568 West, 800 South. Same parcel number as the commissioner stated. This is in the BPD, Business Park Development Zone. The comments that staff would have on this, and they've agreed to do, is that they would install the landscaping, which has not been done yet on that property. And also just to continue to work with staff through any final approval processes. This is where it is, just for your reference. You can see the county parcel area in yellow and then the plat map down below. And so staff is recommending a positive recommendation to City Council for this condominium plat.
Okay.
Any questions?
Did I see some things in our material talking about concerns about power meters, water meters, those kind of things?
Yes. So from what I understand, and in their site plan approval process, when the building was built, we have on record that they should have individual power and utility stub to each unit. And staff is just going to verify that prior to this being finalized and approved.
Okay. Any additional questions? It is a public hearing, so we need to open a public hearing on item 6.2.
Motion to open public hearing.
Second, Warner?
Motion a second, all in favor by yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this is again an opportunity if anybody wants to address us on this project, on the condominialization of these 4 buildings. Just step up to the mic, give us your name and tell us your thoughts on that. No movement. All right. It's like a silent auction. Moving on. I have a motion. Can we get a motion to close the public hearing?
I move we close public hearing.
Second.
All right. Second, Commissioner Cowan. All in favor by yes.
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion on this item?
Also seems straightforward as far as.
Doesn't change the layout of the property at all by any means, so. Okay, anybody ready to make a motion?
I move we recommend approval for item 6.3, the
6.2.
6.2, I jumped ahead. The approval of the FV condominium plat for the existing building located 1568 West 800 South. Contingent upon working with the staff on installing landscaping and the red lines and conditions.
A motion? Second. Second, Commissioner Moore. All in favor by yes?
Yes.
Yes.
That will move on to City Council. Next is item 6.3. This is a request by Todd Dudley for the approval of the Red Bridge Business Center condominium plat. The proposed location is approximately 1693 West American Way in the Payson Business Park. And you're doing this presentation as well?
Yes.
Okay, turn the time over to Mike.
So as you can see, 1693 West American Way in the Payson Business Park. You can see various parcels that this property or this project will affect. approximately a little over 10 acres in the business park development zone. The existing built out area of this is about 32,000 square feet where Cornaby's is now. And they anticipate to build another 95,000 square feet of space and then to condominiumize those individual units that they would build as a part of this. Staff recommends design elements that are conducive to the BPD zone and surrounding properties. And engineering staff also is requesting that is requiring that they put in a 6-inch sewer lateral that's tied to the main with a manhole, which we just wanted to put on the record to make sure that's done because it's a situation where this could be very problematic with all of the additional use that can go on there, especially with processing of vegetables and fruits and things like that. So this is the various parcels that is being affected. You can see in the lightly highlighted red, the gray parts are the existing buildings there now. And this would be affecting all of those adjoining parcels. This is what it would look like on the plat map for the condominiums, with each of these being separate units. I believe a total of 40 units, including what's existing there now. And staff recommends a positive recommendation on this and to move it forward to city council upon working with staff for approval processes and red lines. So any questions?
Just for me, I tried to calibrate my eyeballs when I looked at that diagram. Are these individual units around the perimeter, are they running, look to me like maybe 30 by 45 each? Is that close to what they are?
I would have to go back and look at their site plans. I'm not exactly certain what they are.
And you said Cornaby's is wanting about 100,000 additional square.
So
footage.
Cornaby's is currently that west facing.
whole front block.
Yeah, and they need additional space. So from what I understand, they're going to utilize one of those large center units.
Okay.
And that, or maybe two of them, but I believe it's at least one of them.
So they're expanding and then it just going to be able to rent out the rest of the additional properties.
So they'll build the 20,000. So both of those center pieces will be Cornaby's. They want
Okay.
to build 20,000. That's why they have it as two separate ones. They want to build 20,000 and have the possibility to expand to 40,000.
And they would potentially still utilize some of the spaces they're in now. They just need additional space.
Right. Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay. No additional questions for staff. We will entertain a motion to open the public hearing on item 6.3.
Motion to open the public hearing on 6.3.
Second, Warner?
The motion is second. All in favor by yes?
Yes.
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 Okay, again, if anybody has comments for this project, like step up to Mike, give us your name and give us your feedback. We're moving through. All right. Motion to close public hearing.
I move we close public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion, second by Commissioner Moore. I'll give this one to you. All right. All in favor by yes?
Yes.
Moore. Yeah. Okay. Any commission discussion on this item? Like it fits the business park. As long as we get the landscaping, get the staff conditions, I think we're in good shape, but anybody else have any comments?
Yeah, it seems pretty straightforward also. So, yeah.
Somebody ready to move forward with a motion?
I move that we recommend approval of item 6.3 for the Red Bridge Business Center condominium plat with contingent upon staff conditions.
A motion?
Second.
Is there something to be added or?
Well, he just recommended on the record that we have the 6-inch sewer lateral. Do we need to include that in our motion?
It's a requirement of site plan
So
approval.
as long as it's staff conditions,
So-
then we're good.
Staff conditions.
So we have a motion, a second, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that will move forward to city council. Can I announce these three together that are all by,
Yes,
Scott Phillips.
I believe that would be fine. We will need three separate motions, and the presentation is going to be put together all together for all three, but
Okay.
we will
And
need
then-
three separate motions, but it's all for the same project.
and I can have one public hearing on all three as well, or do they have to be separate public hearings? One public hearing. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
it's all for the same nature.
So these next three items, 646566, are all requests by Scott Phillips to rezone some parcels from the I-1 light industrial to R175 residential, followed up by a request for those same parcels to use the RMO overlay, and then also to get the preliminary approval for the use of those parcels. And so we will turn time over to staff to presentation.
So these are the parcels in question. You can see there to the right of, or to the left of the red is the storage units. To the right of the other red parcel is an existing 55 plus community. And so the applicant is seeking to do a 55 plus community. I'll get to that in a moment. That is about centered in between those parcels. Approximately 1100 east and 100 north. Those two parcels you can see there is what's being affected. Approximately 4.39 acres of this 9.6 acres will actually be developed at this time. You can see as the current zoning is the general commercial on the south where 198 is. And then on the north portion, it's currently zoned light industrial. And as the chairman stated, those are the three things that they are seeking, both the R175 zoning designation, the RMO1 overlay, and then preliminary, and looks like we're just doing preliminary since final's not on the agenda. But I guess final's going to go to council anyway, so we'll be fine there. So this is the area in question. The area that's yellow is the area that's being proposed to be rezoned. And this would be the only area that's being affected at this time. The area that's circled in red on the top and bottom will remain the existing zoning. So on the bottom of the image there, that's zoned general commercial. And then on the top, it's light industrial. So for the RMO overlay, the plan for this is the applicant seeking the RMO overlay, not to do multifamily housing, but to do a planned residential community there and do a 55 plus community there. With planned residential communities, it's possible to negotiate with the applicant on amenities and things that might be applicable or useful for residents in that area. So I just wanted to point that out. As far as the subdivision goes, something to note is that it would be a 20 lot subdivision of all single family homes. The map that you can see there with the blue line drawn is showing where the development is going to stub out on the undeveloped area. And then it carries on the sewer going east, then north, and then east to an existing lift station that's already put in there by this developer actually and other partners. And so by doing this, the existing homes in that 55 plus community now would all be utilizing and attached to the lift station that's being shown and not the lift station that they're currently on. So we just wanted to point that out. So the lift station that those homes are currently on would be abandoned after this is all connected. So this is a general layout of the plat map. You can see the 20 units there and the road going through 200 north. And I can't read that on the side. 1170 east to 330 north. And staff is recommending approval on all three of these requests by the applicant. Any questions?
So this ties 330 north into the existing stub of the other 55 community rights. We actually complete the loop there, at least the way I was looking at it on the map.
Correct.
It completes all the way through. Okay.
Just for my clarification, 330 north presently intersects with, I think it's 1140 east. It's kind of small print here. But the structures on either side of 1140 east right now are senior housing. Is that right?
It's a 55 plus community.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So the other question, you said they're going to stub into the other lift station there, so.
So what they're going to do is they're going to stub into the existing sewer pipe and then carry that up to an existing lift station, approximately whatever that distance was. I don't think it's actually on the map, but it's going to actually go outside of the existing community. Currently, the one in the existing community is about at the edge of the last house on the east side, right around where Robert's cursor is there. And so what will happen is that lift station will be abandoned, and then all of these homes plus this Mount Loafer will all have their sewer go to that lift station in that top pinpoint up there.
And it's been built for the capacity to handle that.
Yes, it was built with this in mind. Yes.
Yep. Yep.
Any other questions?
Staff, commissioners. Okay. So we will make this all one public hearing on any of these items. So we will entertain a motion to open a public hearing for items 6.4, 6.5, and 6.6.
I would make a motion to open public hearing for item 6.4, 6.5, and 6.6.
Okay. So this is opportunity for anybody who wants to address us on this. Step up to the mic.
Second.
Oh, excuse me.
Second.
Knew it. This, don't mind.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cowan. All in favor by yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You'd step up the microphone. Let us know your thoughts and comments on this project.
Give us your name.
Make sure you state your name for the record.
I'm Linda Coyle. I presently live in Rosewood Estates. Am I to understand that that lift station will include all it will take away our lift station as present, and all of them will go over to the new lift station behind the mental health?
That is my understanding. And
Okay, is at the present time, the new subdivision and the 55 and older across the highway also on that lift station?
they're on the sewer, but I would have to ask the engineers where that's at. Does anybody on staff know the?
The new South Paper Farms development on the south side of SR 198 goes to that same.
Okay, so it is on the same lift station.
And it has the capacity to hold all that?
The engineer would have to approve it the engineer wouldn't approve it if it doesn't have the capacity. So
Boy,
my
I
answer
hope
would have to be
so.
yes. So,
Okay,
yep,
thank you.
yep. Additional public comment? If you do have the same comment as somebody previously, just make note that you agree with previous comments, please.
My name is Renan Wilkes, R-A-N-O-N, Wilkes with no E.
That's so helpful.
I know. I spent the first 3 years of my married life saying no E. Okay. Concern about the same lift station thing. Is it ever possible that that subdivision would be approved without it eliminating the existing lift station in Rosewood Estates?
I believe that becomes an engineering question. So,
Okay, that's just one of my concerns.
Yeah.
If it were ever said that no, because he's going to be using our existing sewer system to get there or bypassing it, and I just would hate to see that happen. This has been a conundrum since I moved in 4 years ago. So, okay, the other thing, the storage units that will be on the west and north side of the new development, will they be fenced off? So they have to, I don't know the street. What's the light there? By the post office. Okay, would the storage unit still have to access those off of 1,000, or would they be allowed to use the existing road in the new subdivision to access their storage units? I'm concerned about if that happens, it would give even more additional traffic to our streets. I realize we don't have children running up and down, but it's also a 55+ community. We enjoy our peace and quiet, and I'm sure the new residents would also. And then the other thing, will there be any cost to the existing two subdivisions, Mountain View and Rosewood, for that connection to the lift station? That would all be absorbed by the new developer. Buzzkill. Okay. And then just the other thing, the additional traffic that will be there by those 20 homes, because that's pretty high density. That's, I don't know what the acreage is, but 20 homes in 4.9 acres. That's pretty high density. What is it? Less than a quarter acre? Fifth of an acre? Okay, so I'm just concerned about the traffic there. There is no light at the south end of 1140. It is a challenge to get out on that street with all the new traffic that's coming through from all the developments around the east side of the city. And I'm concerned about safety and just the impact of that additional traffic on our streets, which really need attention from the city. Okay, bye.
Thank you.
My name's John Gregson. I'm in 193 Mountain View Estates. And I had a question concerning, could I go back to this map here that showed? I'm sorry.
That one?
No, it's actually the bigger map with that one. Go back. This one here. Where the lift station is for our community right now is about where the cursor is. And the question I have is, according to this map that we received from the city, is this area down here that's kind of wooded right below that to the north there shows, I got my magnifying glass out. Do I understand that to be future residential? And I'm concerned about the sewer now tying into the lift station. You've already got the new subdivision with on the south side of 198 tied in there. Now, if this is going to be future residential, the additional traffic from not only the 20 units or the Mount Loafer, as a lady here's mentioned, the future traffic of going into the Mount Loafer storage units. Also, she mentioned that we don't have any children, but we do have a daycare right on that street on the corner. And that is a lot of traffic right there with 80-something kids. Okay. And buses parked on that street already. So.
Appreciate your comments. You just say it into the mic there. That way it gets on the recording.
My name is Charles Harper.
Thank you.
I'm in Mountain View Estates, and this is kind of exciting, except for the some obvious problems. We, as you can see now, don't have any through traffic on that street. And this proposed development would bring a lot of that. And I'm concerned about the condition of the street and the increased traffic. Right now, many of my neighbors and myself, this is kind of a walkway down that street. It's a nice place to walk safely because there's only traffic going one way. Basically, there's no through traffic is what I'm saying. So I'm concerned about that, the traffic. And also, I understood that this area here shown without homes in it, that's a wetlands area. It's been classified as that. I understand there's a case on that right now. I'm not sure of the details, but I'm wondering how the resolution of that case may affect this development. And I think future plans to build in that area, which is now not buildable. That area is,
He's talking about the east-west portion of the sewer. It's edging on a wetlands area that has been before the start. And I don't know what the outcome is.
yeah, thank you. My concerns are multiple. One is that that area, I don't know who approved where we live. It's a beautiful place, but that area there is a total mess. There are weeds growing without anyone controlling them. We're supposed to somehow take care of that area, the residents on both sides of that street. And I'm wondering if there are any plans associated with these buildings that will be built to clean that up. It could be a beautiful park area if they were able to do that, which would be utilized by 3 communities of senior people in that area. That would be wonderful. Right now, the weeds are so high that you can hardly see the mountains if you're standing on the street. But it's a beautiful scene. If you can see it, it's beautiful with pastures and cattle and horses and greenery. It's a gorgeous place to live, as you know, in Payson. So those are my concerns. I'm anxious to have some new neighbors. We will have the side that we're on will be right next to this new development. I'm concerned a little bit about the noise, but then that comes with progress. The streets concern me, where their new street, where the new road would intersect the road that's already there. There's a 2-foot high sewer access right at that point. And I'm wondering how that's going to be dealt with, whether it's, are they is water going to drain down into where we live right now? Will the whole area be raised? I have a lot of concerns about that. Just some comments and questions, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Yes, my name is Sandra Clayton. And I have a couple of questions. When Scott originally made this light industrial, he promised that he would build a wall to the back of our property. And yet on this paper that we received, he's utilized the fence that's currently there. I'm wondering if he is planning to put in a new fence, if that's a consideration because of the additional noise and also the additional storage units. I'm assuming that he's going to take 330 North and make that an entrance to the condominiums or the single dwellings, and also into the storage units, which would put traffic down 1140 East, which we're not real excited about. Do we have any idea when this project would begin?
Is the applicant here and respond to that? Because we don't have anything on our documentation that shows when they're anticipating starting it.
Okay,
No, is he online, do you know? Or?
right.
Okay, so I don't have the answer to that, so, yeah. Okay.
Okay, the storage sheds that he's putting in behind the last phase of our condominiums, I don't see any kind of a fence there, which is concerning because we don't know who's going to be coming in and out. Anyway, I'd just like to know some of those questions. We're concerned about the development, and he's changed it several different times. And we'd like something firmly discussed.
Thank you.
I'm Laurel Noyes, Noyes. My concern, along with everything, getting the water. We're going into droughts and everything. There's a lot of building going on. So that's all I have right now. But thank you.
Thank you.
Dave Kennedy. I live in the last house on the end of 1140 East. And they assure us that that sewer line will be put in before they start development, so that they don't end up with a bunch of houses built before they move and have people moving into them before they get hooked up to the sewer line over by the health department.
I don't think the engineering or the staff would allow them to build and occupy homes without having it tied in properly, because they won't cause public utility issues that way. So.
And then the other one we had was on the fencing back there. The existing fencing is falling down, and that needs to be repaired before it gets beyond repair.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have anybody else who wants to address this issue with us? Do we know if the applicant's going to make it this evening, or?
I'm filling in from my dad who's out of town.
Okay. So you haven't heard some of the public comment then yet that,
Yeah, my dad's aware he needs the sewer issues need to be worked out, obviously.
Okay. Would you be willing to just step up to the mic and give us your name and?
Yeah, I don't know if I can answer all the questions, but I'll try. My name's Cameron Phillips. I'm Scott Phillips's boy. He's the landowner. I'm gonna be the developer on this.
Okay. So some of the questions that were brought up were the fencing. Do you know what the intent is with the fencing situation, or?
You're meaning on the far north?
For the
end, or-
storage units, I believe is where the question was coming, is the existing fencing around the storage units, and do you know if they're planning on repairing that fencing
Yeah,
or
I
adding?
think he's gonna put in a new, I'm not sure what it was, concrete fence or masonry fence, so.
Okay. And then just another question that came up several times was access to the storage units. Do you know if there's, at least when I look at this plat, I don't see any intended access from that development into the storage units, but are you aware? What I see, there's no access from that development into the storage units.
No, I don't believe so. It'll all be separate. So.
Jill, you had a comment?
If I can expand, because I've been looking at plans as the public has been raising their questions, so I did want to answer a couple of them. So this might be a team effort here, but to help out the applicant as well, because he did not hear the comments or the questions that were raised, but to go along with what Cameron is mentioning, we do require some land use transition when we are transitioning between commercial, industrial, and commercial or residential. But the applicant is showing it, which you can see on the, it's a little hard to see. We look at plans every day. I know that you don't, but he does show a precast masonry wall that will be located between the storage units and this residential development, and then also the separation between the residential and the commercial to the south. So keeping in mind, we've got a commercial parcel on the south, the residential that's proposed in the middle, and the storage units on the north. Going back to the question about whether or not that fence is going to be, there was a question about the existing fence that's on the shared property line between this property and the 55+ community, Mountain View Estates.
We'll get you to in a minute,
The
sir.
wood fence. I
We'll let
guess
him
the
finish and then
question
I'll
was
get
that
to
we
you.
could not answer as the city, probably more for the applicant, is will that fence be replaced? I don't know if you can answer that tonight, but that was one of the specific questions, was not only between the new residential and the storage units, but what would happen with the existing wood fence? Is that just going to remain to be the separation between the developments, or would there be any new type of fencing that would be installed between that and Mountain View?
Not sure on that.
And then to answer another question about the zoning, it is residential zoning as it goes north of Rosewood and Mountain View and goes up by the lift station and around that the applicant owns as well. That is currently zone residential. It's not asking for any developments on that this time, but it is zoned residential.
When he's finished, I'll have you
So the
step up to the
wetland
mic.
area, all of that property. I'm not addressing the wetlands. I'm not aware of the wetlands, but you asked about the zoning also. It has been zoned as residential. The applicant, any landowner would be responsible to address any wetland issues. I mean, whether it's this property or across the city. If there's any wetlands present or any sensitive lands, that's part of the development review process. Is we look to see if any of those are present. If they are, if there are any jurisdictional wetlands, then the applicant has to work through the Army Corps of Engineers on approvals that way. Don't know where this is at on Mr. Phillips' piece per se. As you mentioned, there's been some discussion with the Army Corps of Engineers and maybe even some litigation, but I don't have an update on that. But it is zoned residentially all the way from your developments looping around to where Wasatch Mental Health is. So everything north of there's residential, Wasatch Mental Health, that is all commercial.
Can you tell me what piping has already been laid along that north line? When I moved here in 2017, and there is still a big old trench there where they were laying pipe. They looked like sewer or water main pipe. I don't know which it is, but they come right from the lift station. And I don't know what those pipes are for that have already been laid.
And I am not sure, I'm not sure if the applicant knows what some of those are. We do not have the engineering staff here tonight to answer that question. But it'd probably be the engineering staff that would need to identify what's been approved, what's been installed, what's delayed. That's more of an engineering question. All right, thank you.
Mr. Phillips, did you have any additional comments or information you'd like to provide?
I don't know.
Okay, if you'd like to step back up to the mic, we can.
The area of concern, and I've looked at this map with it does not show a precast wall between Mountain View Estates. And my understanding is that our homeowners association president has been trying for a year to find out about this fence that is on the east side of these 20 units here. Our current fence, and Ms. Clayton, I'll ask you, the current fence there is 3 foot on our side. The existing, there's a barbed wire fence with steel post, and then a wood fence there that's been 20 years. That fence has been there 20 years. And that is the one, but on this map, it only shows precast specifically on Mr. Phillips's property. Nothing concerning our adjoining property, which Ms. Clayton has been trying for almost a year now to get some resolution on the fence between the two subdivisions.
Okay. And if that's outside the scope of this development, that probably wouldn't be tied to this development if that's a border that's outside.
It is part of the
Okay,
development. Yes.
so that'd be something the city council could stipulate as part of requirements to development is that the fencing would have to be, but that'd be the city council's decision to decide if they wanted to stipulate that.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Any additional comments from the public? Appreciate your comments. We'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Have a motion,
Second.
second by Commissioner Marzan, and all in favor by yes?
Yes.
Yes. Commission discussion.
I think part of the motion, when we make the motion, needs to be a resolution to the fencing questions.
I agree. Any other comments or feedback? I know from mine, a lot of these are engineering questions that I do know that staff would resolve prior to allowing the development to move forward. So as long as they're meeting staff conditions, that a lot of these issues would be addressed as far as access and things like that. So does staff have any additional comments they'd like to make?
Not unless you have any questions, so.
Okay.
I would say that this right now is only for this 20 lot subdivision. There might have been some drawings in that show some additional storage units to the north. And that is not part of this request.
Okay, and we do need to make separate motions on all three of these items. So as we look at that, make sure we make a separate motion for each of the three items. So first, addressing the request to rezone the portions. Do we have somebody willing to make a motion?
And these are
This is 6465.
recommendations to the city.
Correct. This is all recommendations to city council.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we recommend approval of item 6.4, the rezoning to the R175, finding that this development would be very fitting in the neighborhood with similar housing already in that location. I also like the fact that there is a flow-through street design there that will avoid cul-de-sacs and those kind of things.
Okay, I have a motion.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Marzan. All in favor? By yes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, the rezone will move forward to the city council for item 6.5. This is the use for the overlay, which allows this PRD to happen. This probably the next item is best one to include the item on fencing if we're going to make a condition
If you
or
want
recommendation on
any
fencing
additions or amenities included, this would probably be the place where you could.
as part of the
state that
RMO.
As part of the
Okay.
planned residential development.
So is there any additional discussion that needs to happen concerning the RMO overlay in this area?
So there's the information we were given, there was no amenities listed for this PRD. I think this mic isn't working very well.
Can you try Blair's, see if his will pick you up?
Are there any, I didn't notice any amenities mentioned in the plans we got for the PRD. I mean,
We would follow up with the applicant on that. There has been discussions about some amenities, but none have actually been placed on any of the drawings that we've had submitted to us. So we can follow up on that, and we could definitely take any suggestions from the planning commission back to the applicant.
this would just be a prime opportunity for all the developments there if they had something, a little park or trail or walkway or something.
There is some common space on the south side, I believe, but other than that, I don't think there's any dedicated amenities. And the applicant, is he still here? Or he looks like you. Is there any other amenities that you're aware of on this? Okay.
So, and then there was a question about density, and I know, at least from what I can see, it's fairly similar in density to the existing 55 plus community. So it'd be just kind of a spillway of what's already there. So.
That density question is more addressing the additional traffic with that side type of density.
Okay. So is there anybody willing to make a motion on item 6.5?
For shot. I would make a motion to recommend approval of the RMO overlay to support a planned residential community known as Mount Loafer Flats in the R175 residential zone, including any staff recommendations, red lines, and including resolution to fencing between the storage units, other development that's currently there and the new development.
Second.
The motion, second by Commissioner Cowan. All in favor by yes?
Yes.
Any opposed? Okay, that will move forward as well. And then on item 6.6, this is on the preliminary plat approval for this development. And is there any discussion that needs to happen on this item prior to making a motion?
Maybe just to mention that this is a preliminary approval, that we're considering that there will be a later process for a final plat that would be, brought forward.
Amenities.
Yes.
Okay. Any additional comments?
Final plat would probably include any amenities that we showed.
Will that be done at the city council meeting or the planning commission?
City Council. And one, at least my recommendation would be that we just make sure we address the access issue. I don't see that there needs to be any access from this development into the storage units, but that as they address the preliminary and final plat, that they make sure they address the access issue for the storage units. So
Make a
I know I
motion.
can make motions still, but. So, all right, I would make a motion. We recommend approval to the city council of the preliminary plat for the Mount Loafer Estates, following all staff conditions, addressing the option for amenities, and also making sure to address before final plat the access to the storage units to alleviate any storage unit traffic going through this development.
Second, Marzan.
Second by Commissioner Marzan. All in favor by yes?
Yes.
Any opposed? Okay, that will move forward to the city council as well. We appreciate everybody coming and sharing your comments. All right, we're going to move on to item 6.7. This is a public hearing request by Chris Knapp for the use of the RMO 1 two-family residential overlay to allow 8 twin home structures, 16 units total, on Utah County parcel 08-128-0013 and 08-128-0014. This is located north of 700 South at approximately 200 East. Michael has our presentation on that.
So this property is approximately 2.5 acres. It's currently zoned R19. As was stated, they're seeking 8 twin home units, total of 8 twin homes, total of 16 units. They would use the RMO overlay to do these twin homes, as well as to create a planned residential community. At this time, they are only seeking the RMO 1 overlay designation. With this positive recommendation and potential approval from city council, they would therefore draft preliminary documents and present those for staff to review at a future date and future planning and city council meetings. The planned residential community, you can see there, it allows flexibility in the zoning, but it also allows opportunities for the developer to put additional things in there that aren't necessarily required, but also gives them the flexibility of reducing the setbacks and things of that nature. One thing we just would note is that the planned residential community design standards must be followed if this designation is given. So this is the property from the Utah County parcel map. You can see there's one existing home on the east and south. I'm not sure what that structure is in the center of that sideways Utah shaped property. And then the other parcel is vacant at this time. This is concept drawings of what it would look like with the twin home units on the property. In the northeast corner there, those are amenities of pickleball courts. And you can also see separating the twin home on the furthest west side, there's retaining walls from the other twin homes right next to it. That's because there is some slope there. This is a sample concept drawing of what the twin homes could look like. This is another one. The applicant is here, so he can address any concerns related to some of these things. So I'm just kind of going through this fairly quickly, and if you have specific questions, you can ask him as well.
Okay.
So some staff analysis here, that there is some floodplain related situation going on here. It is in a 500-year floodplain, which makes it buildable, but you need to take some precautions. The applicant also was willing to continue on the trail that is near 400 East. If it were to go on his property, there's potential that it could go on the east side of, what would that road be? The east side of this new road, whatever that's going to be. If it was on the east side, then obviously the applicant wouldn't put in the trail there. But he said he was agreeable to that if it was to be identified and located on his side of the property there. So upon review, staff recommends approval for this RO1 overlay designation to allow the applicant to proceed with preliminary drawings and that process. Provided that preliminary and final would have the staff red lines and comments needing to be addressed, any engineering concerns, and if city council and planning commission feels as if this meets the general plan and the needs of the community. So again, possible actions is this can be approved with a positive recommendation. It could be remanded back to staff, or it could be forwarded on to city council with a negative recommendation. As I said, staff recommends a positive recommendation on this with the contingency of satisfaction, as I stated prior. Staff also recommends that some single family homes be a part of this development. And so staff would definitely take any input from the planning commission, the city council, the public on what kind of mix that would be. But ultimately, that would be a city council decision as to whether or not they're going to allow this approval and need to have the single family homes is there as well. So with that being said, do you want to hear from the applicant, or do you want to just go to the public hearing?
Yes, let's hear from the applicant prior to opening public hearing.
Okay.
If the applicant would like to step up the microphone, give us your name. Give us your comments on this, please.
Good evening. My name is Chris Knapp. Comments. Can you kind of maybe go back to one of the maps there? Go back to one that actually shows the layout. There you go. So this is an evolving plan, and we're mostly here just to try and get feedback and comments, and again, also we're not extremely familiar with Payson's process, and so we just kind of wanted to get some feedback, and this is what we would like to propose. Again, we are open to suggestions and comments. You can't see it on this map, but directly to the west, so on the left side of the map there is the aquatic center, and directly to the south are the ball fields, all those ball fields. And I mean, right now, if you look at that, it's really just kind of a big weedy area, and just felt like, you know, all the people come from all over the state to have tournaments and play on those ball fields. It'd be a nice addition. And also directly to the south there's the J Lane subdivision, which is a very similar subdivision. There are twin homes in there. And it is a planned residential community, which has smaller non-conforming lots existing. We felt like it kind of matched up with the existing 700 South. Is a very large road and connects directly to other infrastructure that would support the additional, residential load and traffic. The amenities, we've done amenities in other units. And the pickleball courts seem to be really popular right now. And it is something that we feel like would be able to be used by the surrounding neighbors. And I know staff was questioning or asking how that would work, and really we're open to suggestions, but it'd be really easy to address how they're used in the CCRs or HOA documents. Our intention right now, if you can see the dotted line where the existing home is, our intention right now is to make that a conforming lot on the bottom left, so southwest corner of the property. Make that a conforming lot and not have that be part of our subdivision. And additionally, the building right next to that, we have already changed this concept to have that be a single family home, just because it's not really inside the development, and it would fit more with the surrounding area. Are there any questions for me?
Just questions on the pickleball courts. Are you suggesting that the HOA would pay the cost of keeping those maintained over the
Maintain them,
years?
and yes, that is what we have planned, yeah.
Any additional questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you. Staff have any additional comments before we open our?
I would just make the additional comment to kind of bring this back to say, the question before you tonight really is, are you okay with this RMO overlay that would allow the kind of configuration of the lot, an additional infill into the lot? Because currently it's zoned R19, so 9,000 square foot, single family lots. And so the question here is, are you okay with an infill overlay that would allow some additional configuration? And that's the main question, because there's not a final platter associated with this question, but the applicant is asking for some input on a proposed layout. So this isn't necessarily what's going to be approved, but is the possibility okay?
We'd still see preliminary and final plat
Right.
prior to anything going forward.
Yeah.
This is just concept with an overlay.
And I say that for your benefit and also for the benefit of the public, to just make sure what we're considering tonight.
Thank you. Okay, this is a public hearing, so we need to open up the public hearing for item 6.7. Just remember, if you'd like to make comments, step up to the mic. Try to limit your comments to a brief amount. And if you agree with the people ahead of you, just make sure you make that note and don't end up restating what's been previously stated. So
We need a motion.
I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
I move to open the public hearing on item 6.7.
Second,
Second by Commissioner Marzan. All in favor by yes?
Yes.
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 Okay, if you'd like to address us on this subject, please step up to the microphone.
Hello, so my name is Christy Davis, Kristi. You're welcome. We own the property that shares the absolute most of the property line with the proposed difference or with this property.
Which side of the property we
To
talking?
the north.
Okay.
So if you go back, you can actually see my name on one of the maps, wherever. So a few concerns that we have. So right there, Mark and Christy Davis, that's us. We purchased this property. We own almost 2 acres, 1.8. We purchased this property with the agricultural rights so that we could raise animals. Problem that we have with putting in a lot of homes is you get a lot of complaints. And And that changes how we live our life. And that's a big thing for us. We have children and we believe that the raising of animals to help us provide for our children, as well as to teach our children important life lessons like compassion and hard work, is fundamental to who we are. And so that's something that is very important to us. Also, you notice that 700 South and First East, there's no out. That's the swimming pool parking lot. So you're talking about adding 32, give or take, new drivers that are going to be going along this road. 100 East is also one of the safe walking ways for our children to walk to Parkview Elementary. Every school in this area is a walking school. Mount Nebo Junior High, Mount Nebo Middle, Payson Junior High, Payson High School, Parkview Elementary, all of those are you walk to school, and none of those have sidewalks in this area. So there's no real safe place for our children to walk to school, and then you add in a lot of more homes and a lot more traffic. So that's another concern that we have. Those are my main concerns. I also have been given a letter. Is that by somebody that couldn't be here tonight? Is that something that I can read? I don't know the rules.
Mr. Barban's letter.
Mr. Barban's letter.
So we will have that included it will be in the notes at the end, and
Okay,
we'll
so
make a note that he had submitted a.
beautiful. Okay, so, and I guess one of the big things for me is we've been living here for nearly 11 years. And we just hope that the city will recognize that we are, I don't know how to say it. So with our animals, we do things like field trips, school field trips, and people come and visit, Cub Scout groups come, and we feel like we are adding to the community and helping to educate and provide opportunities for children. And we hope that the city will recognize our value and our commitment to the community and the area around us, and recognize that, and maybe give our opinion a little bit more weight than the money that is being thrown at this, because we don't have money for a lawyer to fight it, and we don't have money to buy that land, even though we would desperately like to. And we are not against developing this land, but cramming as many people into that spot as humanly possible is not the way to go about it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. And as you noted, Mr. Barban did submit a letter in opposition to the development, and that will be included in the packet that gets with this meeting. So
my name's Taylor Pierce, and Taylor's with an ER. We live at 367 J Lane, that is just out of picture here to the bottom and to the right.
We're on 30s.
Yeah, so 7th and the other side of J Lane that you can't quite see, just barely in this picture.
Okay.
I would agree with everything that was just stated as well. And to add on the school side of things, capacity, I'm aware that Parkview School District is, I don't know exactly where their limit is and what they can handle more, but I think this development could bring, just 2 kids, 16. Yeah, the math is there. And I would just want to make sure that that's something that can be handled without overstressing those classrooms. And then as well, I'm all for progress and building, and I recognize that that's how everything's going to be, is that there's going to be progress and new buildings all the time. And this is an empty spot of land at the moment. But I also agree that I think that there's better ways that we could go about it with not quite so many people packed in on each other. And I also agree with the situation of the road that goes around the ball fields there. So the one that goes down towards the school is a small road, kind of hidden, and like was stated, is the walkway for a lot of the children that get out of school in that area. And then also the road that cuts around the newer road that they redid and cut around that ball field is very slim. It's not an easy road for, especially when there's things going on and there's people parked there, it becomes very slim, nearly a one-way road. And the other way back up and out of there is it's wide, it's been redone, it's beautiful. I think they did great work on that entire road area through that section, but access is kind of limited. The only other thing I saw on the layout map that was proposed was, you know, I believe that I don't know exactly how it's slotted on what was pre-planned for the roadways in that area and what's designated road and owned property. But it seemed like that roadway that's cut in has a access point on the next city road down.
So are they
And
cutting
it connects through.
directly to 600 South? Is that what? Yeah, so
Yeah.
this is 600 South?
Yeah,
No,
and so
sorry,
this one. So
northeast. We'll go
So
straight.
the one right above where it says 700 South, I believe that has a road that continues on straight across through there that would be connectable. And as a recommendation, like as a third direction of egress from those neighborhoods, like that one home twin home that's in the back next to the proposed pickleball court, I think if that road were to go more straight through there and connect the grid back into that next road.
The road that you're looking.
That would go
Is
straight
that-
to-
New roadway.
New roadway? Is that where the
That's
dirt
our
road is?
street.
Okay, so I was just mistaken,
That's our street.
but,
That
but yeah,
middle one is the dirt road
so
right now.
sorry. I'm trying to get my bearings with where this
Good.
map is and not being able to see the other roadways underneath it.
So we're on the.
But, and that's really basically, and we as well, like the animals and having that, you know, that I've seen the community really rally around that and everybody being excited, the kids all being excited to have that as well.
We love hearing their donkeys because it's like we're in the city, but not in the city. But
Yes.
we're all for developing it, but we hear their animals and it's nice to not
It
be
is.
congested.
But yeah, those are my basic concerns.
I
Thank
had
you.
concerns about the traffic
Can you
because
state your
we-
name just really quick so we get on the record?
He
Thanks.
got it. So right now I call the cops about once a month because we have people going 60 plus miles an hour down those hills and they don't do anything about it. We have had people nearly get hit. There's kids in the road constantly. So until that's managed, I don't think we can put 60 plus more people there. I've had cops park there, but they just park in the middle and then people are like, oh crap. And then they slow down. But we have had people nearly hit our corner, hit our street sign, like they're everywhere and they drive really recklessly. Also in the winter, people can't get out of those hills. We had to buy a new car to get out of our hill. So constantly in the winter, I just amuse myself and watch people sit there and back up and down the hills for about half an hour. So traffic's definitely a concern because the excess of speed that has not been managed by the Payson police. That's my bigger concern.
Thank you.
My name's Andy Schmidt. Let's see, how do we go back and forth? Okay. So I'm always concerned about overcrowding. I hate it when cities allow buildings to be built like just 10 feet next to highways and things like that. I just wanted the people who have concern in this neighborhood to notice that these are single car garages, right?
So that actual concept does have a single car garage. We included that. Again, this is only a proposal. That is not a final plan or a concept. And as far as the design requirements for the planned residential community for Payson, they have a minimum number of parking spots, which is more than a single car parking. And so that is an item that would need to be addressed. But no, our final plans have 2-car garages.
Okay,
It will have two car garage.
because I saw that and the fact that most people have at least two cars.
So yeah, and I'm here actually representing someone else because I started this. And that was the first thing they told us, is we cannot do single car garages, we have to do two cars. So the plans are being developed with two spots of parking.
Okay, good answer, because all of a sudden, there's no places on that street
Right.
to put another car. Those cars are all gonna be out on 700.
So Payson City already has an ordinance that requires a certain amount of parking per unit, and that we would have to meet that minimum regulation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Purchased or rental?
Purchased. Just a quick comment on that also. Who I'm representing, I asked him that exact question, and he said he would be willing, if needed, to put that in the language of the HOA documents.
Ma'am, go ahead.
Okay. My name is Liz Louder, and I live in the house north of the existing home that you have there. And I was just gonna ask the developer, do you plan on selling that home, renting the home,
We
or
plan on selling the home.
like soon, or?
Yes, in fact, tomorrow, I know there's a crew going to kind of do a cleanup on the lot. I think they left quite a bit of.
Yeah, it's a
garbage and
mess.
Trash there.
Yeah.
There's a crew going tomorrow that I'm pretty sure that is planning on kind of taking out some trees and hauling away all the garbage that was left there.
My other question is, so that would be where the pickleball courts are proposed.
Yeah.
Are those, what kind of a fence would you put there? I have dogs and I don't know if I want, people playing pickleball, teasing my dogs and stuff like that, and listening to them bark and.
I know, so I've done some other developments before for the same person, and he usually, the fencing is always negotiable. We're not here to make anyone mad. We want to try to work with surrounding neighbors and come up with a plan that really fits. I will say that this did start with me. And originally, my son, who was just is trying to move on with his new family and buy a house. We tried looking this last year and helping him find a place, and it was impossible. And we found this property and kind of helped him get started with it, thinking, oh, if we can do this, we can keep these in a price range that people can afford. And even now, everyone is aware of what's going on. And so that's really how this project started.
My other question is, who will be allowed to use those pickleball courts? Is it just for the community there, or is it for the city, or who can use those?
Very good question. We've been in discussion with the staff, and we're open to write the language however we want. And I know one concern is the city, they really probably didn't want the city taking on another amenity that the city had to pay to maintain. And so we were thinking that some language in the HOA documents, that the HOA would maintain them and that there would be access for the public. And so it would probably be anyone who comes to use them, because it would be hard to regulate who exactly can. So.
And what about, would you put lights up like the city has for theirs? Because, then all of us homes, have lights in our backyard still.
Want lights right in the backyard, right? And so you're just to the west, right, is what you're saying?
That's 681, right next door to that
So
existing
I do know
home.
that there would be so they would be kind of sunk a little bit below your property already, like 4 or 5 feet, because of the slope on that hill. So there would be a small retaining wall just inside of the property line with a fence on top of that. So the actual court would probably be 12 or 13 feet below your property right now, is how it would work out.
And then would they put like a time limit, like that has to be out of there by 10, or they can play at 6 o'clock in the morning, just, I don't know, curious like that. Don't get me wrong, I love pickleball, I play at the city ones all the time.
I understand your concern, and that is all something that we could put in the HOA, CCR, the HOA document, so that it controls all of that.
Thank you, that's all. I am thankful that you're going to clean up the backyard. I hate the trees.
The elm trees are horrible.
We'll get through all of you. It's all right.
Got a weird name now. Hopefully you know how to spell that. I'm Leitap, by the way. Leitat. Nelson. I'm the eldest one. Hi. Bill said much of what I wanted to say, but I live on 400 and 700. And I just live on top of that dip that goes down. And my son's autistic, and there's a lot of kids that live around that area. And I've almost had a kid coming around Payson Pool and the new pole fields. Sorry, English is not my language. But, and I just want to stress the importance of that. And that stop sign that goes up the dip, it goes this way instead of going down. So people, like she said, keep flying up and down that street. And I just want to stress the importance of how much if that comes in. I mean, that little lot, we can see how 8 unit, 16 unit, because it's 8 twin homes, right? Would fit in that lot. And if it's going to be there, it's pretty much super tight, and it's going to require a lot of traffic that goes through that. We, like she said, doesn't have a lot of sidewalks for our kids to walk to Parkview, and we have a lot of kids. I myself have 5 kids right now living at home, and they almost get hit because they play around that area. And we can see there's the cars coming up that road, and when you're going around that corner. So, you know, if that does happen, I mean, are you going to do a stopway, 4-way stop sign there or up there just to protect our kids and the traffic that goes right through there? So, yeah.
Thank you.
One comment to note is the applicant would be required to install curb gutter and sidewalk, at least on the areas fronting his
frontage.
property. So at least it would help immediately in front of their property as far as walking in that vicinity.
Jill's
And if
gonna,
I could add clarification too, also the existing home. The existing home is part of this property.
and so because it's changing the development, they have to curb gutter.
So I know that the
that.
applicant saying he wants to sell that off, but he's responsible for all the improvements for that existing home as well as part of the subdivision.
Okay. That's sir.
Yeah, my name's Mark Davis. Mine's easy to spell. With a K, as long as you get that. My wife came up and I wholeheartedly agree with her. We purchased the property because we wanted to raise our kids with a country feel. I grew up in the country, a Pleasant Grove, and now it's nothing but houses. So I came down here to raise my children in a country feel. We got lucky with this property because we have the country feel, but we're all within walking distance of a lot of the stuff. However, there's no curb gutter sidewalk through basically all of that old development. And that's probably, you know, a bad thing that they allowed back in the 80s when a lot of these homes were built. We're not opposed to a house going in there. We were excited for the previous property owners who purchased that tried for 5 years to put a home on that property. And they were stopped at every chance that they could get. They were told that there wasn't enough water for them to build. And a lot of this goes into that letter that he sent to you. They were told that they could not put their access on 700 South, that the only access was on 200 East. And that's some of the reasonings why they essentially just decided that they couldn't build on there. And, you know,
And the flood zone.
and the flood zone, they were, you know, hit barriers there too. We're not opposed to having development. We understand that there's a lot of housing shortages,
But to put this many houses in an already established, very, very established area it's just not feasible. The infrastructure, the roadways, the water pressure is horrible for sprinkler systems down there. So I just want to know what going to be done with all of that to allow for all of this new development. If you look on that block, that's going to double the amount of homes on just that single block. Not to mention all of the calls that the police will get from these people moving in about the noise and the stink. I mean, I purchased my property for the agricultural rights. And both of these both have agricultural rights. And I would just implore that you guys keep the zoning the way that it is and let somebody like-minded as us move in and build their house. That's about all that I've got to say. Thank you.
I have one other question.
Just tip of the mic there.
Christy Davis again, with an I on the end. This new roadway, how far does that go? Where it says no roadway, how far is that road going? Because that cuts, I mean, that's right next to our house. And here, it's plenty big enough for a road, but at our house, there's not enough room. So just wondering, is that going all the way through? And, or just that property?
That
Okay.
road probably would never be completed until your property or something else sold.
Exactly, but we also are concerned about, okay, so it ends. Guess what we already are is the make out do drug spot right there in those trees. Uh-huh. Oh, and camping. So then we just make it easier for the makeouters to get to our property. You probably can look into the city records at how many times we've had to call the police about people that shouldn't be there. So that's just another concern, and I'm done.
Thank you.
My name is Savannah Davis. I don't live near this property, but I live over by Walgreens, and I felt remiss because I haven't been involved enough to speak up in the past about some of the high density stuff being put over by the hospital and different things. And I know the strain that it's put like on the exit from Main Street and all of that has caused a big problem with us even being able to get to our house at certain times of the day. And I know we're making upgrades and changes to Main Street, and that Main Street may not continue to be a through street and things like that as we upgrade downtown. So I'm just concerned about the continued strain that's going to put on that intersection from Main Street and Utah Avenue that we're already having trouble regulating. It's pushing people into the neighborhoods. So I'm just wondering how that might take into effect with this, and then continuing on with future plans for high density just in central Payson, not located near the freeways, but having people drive all the way through to central Payson.
Thank you. Do we have any additional comments? Okay, if we have none, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Cowan. All in favor by yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me just clarify one of my earlier comments and say, you are considering this as an overlay, but allowing that overlay would allow this type of density and this type of layout, right? And so even though there's not an associated plat and we're asking for feedback and things like that, please just keep that in mind, that this type of overlay would allow this density at allowing the twin homes and things like that. So if there are concerns, you need to raise them. Of course, it's the city council's decision and things like that, but just wanted to clarify that we don't do concept plan approval in Payson.
Right. So thank you. Discussion among commissioners.
Well, I think kind of going along with that idea that the applicants already talked about one of those locations being a single family home rather than a twin home. And I like the concept that the staff has proposed that there be a mix of housing at the very least. We would all obviously love to have it all single family houses, but that's probably too much of a reach for us to be able to achieve, I think. But I would like to recommend that there be a mix and have some more single family housing, and maybe that could be part of a development agreement that the city would put together with this property. It looks to me like it's going to require something like that because of the pickleball and the other things that are great amenities and make this a great development, but really need to get some solid agreements and understandings around.
Do you have any idea what your recommendation would be for the mix of single family to?
50-50 sounds good to me.
I kind of agree, because my thought was at least what fronts the road would be single family, and then what's behind would be, at least when I was looking at it, if I was using that concept plan as an idea, was say, hey, everything that fronts the road stays single family, and behind that could maybe be the other. So additional comments?
I would agree with that. There's a development going in where I live where there's a lot of twin homes and people do not park in their garages. We're having issues on the road. So, and it's a busy road to Walmart. So I could see this also, if we put twin homes all in there, the issues that would cause, not only in parking, but with the traffic. So I agree with limiting the twin homes, making it more of a mix.
Okay. Additional comments?
I'm gonna, excuse me, go back a long ways in Payson history to 1973. There's a dam up Payson Canyon that broke. And there was 4 feet of water that ran through that area. I lived 7 blocks north of that, and it was only a foot deep when it came through my house and flooded it. So I'm concerned about the floodplain issue. Another issue is we're talking about putting pickleball courts in there and allowing public to use them. I don't see much parking there for public. How are we going to arrange for public to get in there to use those pickleball courts? I'm personally in favor of leaving the zoning as is.
Okay. Additional comments? So I guess the question is, and you've kind of expressed yours, is do we want to recommend approval of the overlay because of what it would allow, or is there still other things that need to be dealt with prior to moving forward with that? Do we have somebody who is ready to make a motion?
Now, I have another concern there, leaning back to what John had talked about, the flood zone down through the bottom there, and I know there's houses built down through the bottom there.
Not a flood zone now. They removed that from us last year. As far as paying.
Well, I believe they commented that it was considered a 500-year floodplain, you know.
They changed the designation.
So the designation was changed, which at that amount is buildable through that area because of the new determination.
There's also a creek running through that property. So that's also something to consider.
But, you know, like I said, I ride my mountain bike up through that area all the time, and I ride that dip all the time, and I have to crank like heck to make that hill. So, you know, but I tend to still lean about the amount of units put in this area down here, and it seems to be everybody that comes through here wants more on less type of a thing, you know. So I'm kind of to the opinion that, yeah, the zoning that's there probably should remain there.
Would you like to make a motion along those lines or?
I would make a motion on 6.7 that we deny the request for an RMO 1 designation.
Recommended now. It still goes to city council, but the recommendation.
Recommend to city council.
I have a motion. Do I have a
Second.
second? A second, Commissioner Cowan. All in favor by yes?
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed?
No.
No. Okay, we're gonna do roll call to make sure we get this straight. I'll go to the end here. Roll call vote, Commissioner Moore?
No.
Okay, Commissioner Cowan?
No.
Commissioner Morgan? You're voting no for not, but I guess we would clarify that. Are you voting for no, not to deny? His motion was to deny or recommend denial. Are you in favor? Yes or no?
I'm in favor.
Okay,
of
so yes
denial.
on the, okay,
Sorry.
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan, Commissioner Frisbee, yes.
Commissioner Warner, no.
Commissioner Marzan.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So we have motion carries, we have 4. So that will be recommended to city council to deny the use of the RMO overlay zone in this area. So, okay, we are moving on to item 6.8, and this one should be fast. The request for
The applicant has requested this be tabled.
and we do have to make a motion on that. Is that correct? Yeah. So the applicant,
I would make a motion that we table 6.8
due to the applicant's request.
for the, yeah, due to the applicant's request.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Moore. All in favor by yes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that one will be tabled till a future meeting. And then we're moving on to item 7, commission and staff reports. Can I just skip the and training part? So just do commission and staff reports. Nothing from staff. Okay, we have a final motion.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
I guess I do have one question. We can adjourn. Do we know what the timeline is to fill Commissioner Beecher's position? When's that application period end and when they do? Anyways, thank you for coming. Appreciate your input. Sure.
Say that this is now going to city council.
Correct.
Will we be informed of that meeting or?
If,
Okay.
Michael, would you be, if they got your email, would you be willing to send them an email if they?
It will be posted on
Okay.
the city council, on the website.
Okay.
If you want to send me an email, which was included prior, then I could send that to you.
Do note though, the city council does not hold public hearings on it.
Right.
Yeah, so they do not have to take public comment when they do their portion. Yep. So,
As far as a new planning commission member, it's an appointment.
correct.
So there isn't an application process. The mayor makes a recommendation.
Okay, I didn't know if there was like they had to have a certain amount of open weeks that they posted that it was available before.
So I can honestly say, no, I don't
Okay.
know. when
I wasn't aware because I remember
I would assume very soon.
I got mine because I had applied and then got turned down, but then when they had a vacancy, they came back and said, hey, would you fill this vacancy, was how mine originally came out. So that's, I wasn't sure if they had to have a 2-week, hey, we have a vacancy, we're taking applications or.
So the new commission member will be appointed
Okay.
to fill the remainder of Commissioner Beecher,
Yeah.
Councilmember Beecher's term.
And they fill the full term, or is that just till the next application or the next appointment?
The remainder.
So it'll be the full 3, that's almost 4 years because we just barely got
No,
reappointed
It'll just be until the next.
till the next. Okay, because yeah, I was like, me and him just barely got our seats and that's why I wasn't sure. Okay, thank you. All right, we've adjourned. Sorry, drug that on after the adjournment.